don't want to spend like a ton of time like talking about myself or my business. I really want to spend the majority of time answering any questions that you guys have about anything. But what I'll do is I'll just give you the really, really, really quick version of my story, and then get into any questions that you guys have. How many of you are familiar with my story already by chance? Just, okay, good handful, okay. So I went to the University of Florida from 2000 to 2004. Prior to that, I was a military brat. My dad was in the Air Force. I bounced around every couple of years, you know, lived all over the world. I mean, I lived in England for a little while too. I mean, it was a childhood that consisted of bouncing around, right? But for whatever reason, and I don't even know the reason, I think it was just influence from some of my family who went to the University of Florida, specifically my cousin. He was here during the '96 era. We're winning national championships. He's sending me t-shirts in the mail. I'm like, this is awesome. I'm going to be a Gator. And I applied to one school. At the time, I was in San Antonio, Texas. That's where I went to high school. I actually graduated in the top 5% of my class. When you do that in the state of Texas, you can actually go to any state school of your choice, automatic acceptance. Don't know if it's like that anymore, but that's the way it was when I was in school. It still is?
Yes.
Are you from Texas?
Yeah. 10%.
Where are you from?
I'm from Dallas.
Okay. So, the top 10%?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. So I graduated top 5%. Could have gone to UT, could have gone to Texas. I could have gone to any of them. But I wanted to go to one place. That was the University of Florida. So I applied to one school. All of my high school friends, they're freaking out about their college applications, all this stuff. I'm like, applied for one school, and I got in, and it was the University of Florida. So I came here in 2000. So I was here from 2000 to 2004. Went into the business school, business administration, minored in mass communications. I thought I was going to go into like the music industry. I played trumpet in the marching band. I was, you know, in a local ska band, bouncing around stages at bars here locally. I was, what else was I doing? I worked at a local recording studio. I worked at Rock 104, which is now Gator 1037, doing promotions. I thought I was going to go into music. Yeah, I don't do anything with music. But I remember, you know, getting to that last semester, and you know, I was telling some of you guys about this outside a little bit ago. But to fill the rest of you in, I was going to Career Showcase. You know, I got my suit and tie, and my resume is all nice and pressed, and like walking around and going to recruiter, and they're just asking me, you know, oh, so Collin, like, why do you want to work for our company? And I'm just thinking to myself, dude, I don't, right? Like, so I just realized that I was never going to work for any of these companies. And then it was really like light bulbs going on, you know, after that. You know, I'm sitting at the bus stop. I used to live at 20th Avenue, University Terrace West, which is like, it's still like called that. It's like one of the only apartment complexes that hasn't changed names in 15 years. But used to go outside to the bus stop, sit there waiting for the bus. Bus is coming down the street, and then it would drive by with these big words across the top that said, full bus. And I could just never go to class. Luckily, because I was in the business school, right, I could set my VCR to like record Cox Channel 5, where they would actually air classes. I mean, you want to go to college for free, you could just watch Cox Cable Channel 5 and watch class, because they would air it on Cox Cable. And I would set my VCR, record my classes, and watch them whenever I wanted to. And that's how I went to school. I know. I feel like it makes me feel so old too. I'm only 37. You're like, damn, a lot has changed in 15 years. You know, don't even get me started on like my first iPhone story, and like, it's like crazy. But actually, somebody asked me about that later, because it's actually kind of funny. All right, so where was I? VCRs, all right. So basically, light bulbs going off. I'm like, all right, like, I want to solve this problem. I saw students that couldn't get to class, right? I'm like, I can't be the only one having this problem. Students can't get to class. The University of Florida is building on the only land that they have, parking lots. Students are driving around in circles. If you could actually get a decal for the commuter lot or somewhere on campus, you're driving around in circle for hours looking for a parking space. Like, transportation is an issue. I'm like, all right, I'm going to fix this problem. And decided that I was going to start a scooter dealership. And 15 years later, here we are with the #1 dealership in the country. The end. But it was very much that. I had a business partner at the time. We set out to help college students get to and from class at their convenience without having to wait for the bus, without having to deal with campus parking. And so we started a scooter business, and it's been the journey of a lifetime. I absolutely love entrepreneurship. I know that I was born to do this. It absolutely runs in my blood. I will never work for anybody. I will always work for myself, and I have the greatest honor of any person because I actually get to build the teams. I get to pick who I want to work with, and I have the privilege of working with incredible teams in both of my companies every single day. That's the other part. That's where the repaint the wall part comes in. You're like, other company, what is that? So I've had New Scooters for the last 15 years. And last year, an opportunity came up. I think that's really what I've built my career on, is being able to recognize an opportunity and then being able to actually, having the guts to actually seize it. I think you always hear about really great ideas, and we can all have great ideas, but we actually have to execute and do something about it, right? And I've always had the guts to do that. Even with New Scooters for Less, my dad hates that I tell people this, but when I told my dad after that career showcase and all this stuff, I knew that I wasn't supposed to work for anybody. Hey Dad, I think I want to start my own business. And he was not happy about it. It was very much a perspective of, can't believe that you have this college education and you're gonna waste it, And I defend him today because I can understand that this is a parent who's trying to protect his child and do what's best for his kid, right? But my perspective was, I didn't have a wife. I wasn't, I didn't have kids. I didn't have a mortgage. There was okay, sure, I'm gonna risk some time, some money, but if I fail, so what? And I got the best motivational speech that any human could ever get from their father. It was, when you fail in 6 months, don't come crying to me for money. A year later, he was one of my biggest investors because we proved that we were onto something. And I got to give a lot of credit to my dad. It's funny because we were talking about it. We recorded a podcast last night, and something else I can get into. But recorded a podcast last night, and this subject matter came up, and Michael Dees, who's the CEO of New Scooters for Less now, he was like, I kind of think that your dad did it on purpose, knowing that you would want to, as motivation, knowing that you would want to prove him wrong, and maybe he's right, I don't know, but nonetheless, it was one of those pivotal moments in my life because I wanted nothing more than to, show my dad that I could do this. So recognizing opportunity, having the guts to seize it. Last year, we launched a media company, and it was completely organic. We had set out to do an influencer campaign with a young lady. Her name was Allison Shaper. Has anybody seen her content? Yeah? So I can't remember the exact number of subscribers she had. I had actually found her on YouTube. She was on Instagram too, but it was somewhere around 20,000 subscribers. And I was captivated by this young lady who was really just vlogging about her college experience. And this term has come up a ton, right? Influencer marketing. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna see what this what this is all about. And I'm gonna test it for myself. And I'm thinking to myself, what better way than for a college student who, let's just say they're in Miami, Florida, they find out that they get into the University of Florida in February, they're trying to plan out their college. Okay, I'm going to college in August. Google, all right, life at the University of Florida. They're searching things, and what are they finding? And I knew that this kind of content was what was going to come up. and students are gonna find a vlog of somebody who's here, living their college experience. So I reached out to her and I said, hey, Allison, I love your vlog. I think it would be, I was like, I don't know if you would consider this, because she always rides this really cute bicycle around. I'm like, I don't know if you consider this, but like I have a scooter dealership and I don't want to do anything that's unauthentic to your brand, so feel free to say no. But if you want to like come into my dealership and ride a scooter around and talk about your experience, like I'd love to pay you to do something like that. And she came back, she's like, oh my gosh, Collin, yes, all my friends have scooters. I love scooters. I definitely ride a bicycle, but I would love to do something. So we did just that. She came in, we set her up on a scooter, let her drive around campus, talk about her experience, highlights New Scooters for Less. She talks about New Scooters for Less really being this influential scooter company in Gainesville, Florida, how we shifted the culture of an entire community, which is true. Like that's a major part that I don't think a lot of people understand. In 2004, there were virtually no scooters here. Like 2004, there were 500 decals sold at the University of Florida for motorcycles and scooters at $26 a piece. Okay, 2017, which is the last stat I have. I don't know what it was for last year, but 2017, it was 6,800 decals were sold at a price of $160 a piece. Like the University of Florida made over $1 million on just scooter parking, and I still haven't received my check. So like what's going on here? But it's interesting to see that progression and to see the impact that our team has really had on the University of Florida and on Gainesville. But anyway, she talks about that impact in her vlog. She does some Instagram posts, some Instagram stories. And the thing that I did right in that moment was I asked her, hey, could we actually take some of our own video footage? We had already created a vlog that was called N4L TV. I had started documenting behind the scenes the stuff that was going on in our dealership. And so I had a video team. And I said, hey, I would really like to send my video team to capture out stuff. She's like, yeah, sure, bring them along. So we went out there, filmed a bunch of our own content, and I decided that I was gonna make a promo video out of that content in order to, promote New Scooters for Less come fall later that year. A big piece of that story was that New Scooters for Less was named the #1 genuine scooter dealership in the country in 2017. And the scooter that Allison was driving around on was a Genuine Buddy scooter. So I thought it would be great to take this footage, make a little promo video. Here's a cute young lady driving around on a scooter all over campus, and then you see New Scooters for Less, you see #1 dealership, you see all these all of this roll, right? And I was like, I'm gonna promote this on Facebook, Instagram, wherever, like Snapchat, like I'm gonna put it in stories. I'm gonna say, come buy your scooter from the #1 dealership in the country. And that's exactly what we did. But I took one more step and I ended up basically making a second copy of that video that wasn't about New Scooters for Less. I basically cut New Scooters for Less out of it and inserted our distributor, Genuine Scooter Company. I inserted their logo and made a second version that was for them, gave it to them and said, hey guys, here you go. This is a free gift from me to you. Give this to all your dealers. Dealerships have screens and stuff inside their dealerships showing these kind of promo videos. It's like, give this to your dealers, free gift from me to you. And that national scooter distributor came back and said, Collin, this is really great. How much would it cost to do this for every scooter model that we sell? And that opened up a new opportunity of making video for a different company that wasn't mine. And when that happens, you're like, oh my gosh, we're making money off video. Maybe we should consider starting a new business. And that was really what sparked this new company, which is called Repaint the Wall. And we focus on 3 primary things. We call ourselves a digital media unagency because we're very unorthodox, very unique, just untraditional, the things that we focus on are creating content long-term specifically. Like we want to build brand by putting out lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of video over the course of 12 months instead of making one promo video one time. So it's a lot of content creation. It's, a lot of social media, obviously, and personal branding, which is something that I'm personally, passionate about. So those are the 3 pillars, and we started that last year. It's off to a great start. We have 5 full team members who are developing that company. And I also have a podcast that I started last year, which has nothing to do with either company, but I have become a business leader in Gainesville, which is exciting because I don't think I ever thought that that's what would happen over the course of my career. But I've fallen in love with Gainesville, Florida. I absolutely love this place. And I sit on the chamber board of directors, and I'm constantly seeing people talk about the vision of Gainesville. They're talking about, what Gainesville looks like in the future. We have Chamber of Commerce, City of Gainesville, University of Florida, Santa Fe College. We have these really large organizations that are doing the very best that they can to get everybody on the same page, heading the same direction, but that's extremely difficult. And I think for the most part, we do a great job. But again, being an executor, somebody who is like, all right, like what can I do to help speed this along? And my answer was to create a podcast. So I created a podcast that's called the WHOA. Whoa. It's called the Whoa GNV podcast. And I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to invite business owners in. I'm going to have them share their story. I'm going to interview them, talk about Gainesville, talk about the exciting things happening in their business. And I'm just going to highlight what makes Gainesville so great in an effort to do 3 things. 1, keep some of you guys here. I know that Gainesville, the university, this is it gets perceived as a college town. This is where you go to school. I want you guys to realize that, and you should be doing this right now, you need to get outside of University Avenue, 13th Street, 34th Street, Archer Road. You need to get outside of that box and go meet some of these awesome companies here, because there's so much opportunity to work right here in Gainesville, Florida. There are incredible companies that are doing really big things. People don't even realize that we have Inc. 500 companies right here. We have, I could talk days about all the incredible organizations that are here, and they're looking for talent. And this is the top 7 university in the country. We need some of you guys to stay here. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to use this podcast as a way to get students into the system, into our business community. I'm going to use the podcast, let people know it's coming out of Gainesville, Florida, so we can recruit talent from other places, get people to move their businesses here, right? That's a big objective. And then the other is just to build as many collaborations as possible within the city, because I can't tell you how many times I've interviewed a business professional, a business owner, and then somebody reaches out to me and goes, I had no idea that business existed. And so I'm trying to accomplish those 3 things. It's off to a fantastic start. And it's video format. So it's on YouTube. This is where to find all of my content. CollinAustin.tv. If you type that into your browser, it'll take you to my YouTube channel. You'll see the podcast. You'll see the vlog. You'll see this talk. You'll see all the things that I am involved in. But long term, it's going to do incredible things. We've released 72 or 73 episodes, and we've done that every week for the last 73 weeks. So, man, the story keeps getting longer and longer. I don't know what I'm going to do in 10 more years. I'm how am I going to summarize all this shit to because guys, it's when it was just the scooter story, it was a lot easier to get through it. And man, I'm running out of breath trying to squeeze everything in. But I mean, I have this mastermind thing at 8, and I can stay here till 7:30, 7:40. So let's talk about whatever you guys want to talk about, whatever questions you guys have. Yeah.
So the startup scene in Gainesville's gotten a lot bigger over the last 5 years. With companies like Startup Gainesville, formerly Gain. What is your opinion on that affecting the business community here? Is it a positive or is it a negative?
It's extremely positive. StartupGNV is incredible. It's run by a board of volunteers who own companies, who own startups. Like, I think Aiden from Feather is the president of the board, I think. But he has an incredible company that started right here, and it's an opportunity to get involved, and you absolutely should. These resources were not available when I was in school. When I graduated, when I decided I was going to start this company, I had to do it all on my own. I had to figure out how to lease a property. I didn't know anything about renting a property, setting up utilities, applying for a business license, applying for sales tax, applying for all this stuff. I had no idea what I was doing. And now there's so many resources that will walk you through that step, through those steps. And there's really cool entrepreneurs in the community that will help you if you don't know, or help you find the right people. So absolutely, it's the resources that are available are top notch right now. You should absolutely take advantage of them. Yes, ma'am.
So you mentioned that you always knew that you had an entrepreneurial spirit, that you didn't want to work for a company, and you saw a problem and kind of went with it, right? And found the opportunity to create your own business. What's your advice for people that know that they're not meant to work for a company but have not realized the problem? A lot of people get impatient about that and feel like they have to fit into the corporate mold just because they can't find a problem fast enough with graduations coming up. So what's your advice to scout problems or, remain patient?
As in, you want to be an entrepreneur, or no? You realize that that's not your DNA.
Not for me, but in general, for someone that would want to be an entrepreneur but is feeling like they don't have a problem in mind or an ideal business model, whatever, right? So how?
I mean, if I would have realized sooner that this was a potential, this was where my life was going to lead, or this is where I thought it could lead, I would try to work for a company here while I'm in school. Or I would try to find a young entrepreneur to work for, or somewhere to intern. People these interns, and they're going to Portland to work with some major company. Okay, great, but you can intern across the street at some of incredible organizations that are building right here, and they're looking for help. You know what I mean? So my advice would be to get involved as quickly as possible. You guys can get, I think the Chamber of Commerce even does small memberships for students, so that way you can get involved and meet people. And the one thing that I've learned, that if there was one thing that I could do all over, it would be, while in school, getting out and building as many relationships as possible, because nothing else matters. Relationships over education. The education is great. I love the University of Florida, but knowing the person right next to you is way more important. And the relationships you build, the relationships have always gotten me the next deal. They've always gotten me, everything, future opportunities. And I would say build as many relationships as possible. Keep exploring your interests and let it organically surface. Yes, sir.
I want to work as close to the sun as possible, and I know you know what that means. So how can I work directly with you? Just be in your circle? I will work for free. How can I be next to you?
That's a good question. It's super hard. It's funny. It's super hard because I get that request more than you would actually imagine. But I would just say email me and let me know your strengths and stuff too. How can you bring me value as an entrepreneur who's trying to grow my entrepreneurial career? How could you help me? And then in exchange, how's that going to help you? The answer is not no, it's maybe.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
So we kind of share what you're saying about relationships and not being more important than education. But when you're building your business, especially you that came also from a business background, like we all are here, what are the things that have helped you that you actually learned in school? What are the things that were oh, since I knew this, I knew how to do that?
So what things in school actually helped me?
In my mindset, you also hear a lot of entrepreneurs who are yeah, I dropped out after the second year, but like I said outside, you have both. You have your entrepreneurship part and the part that you actually learn in school. Where do those two actually connect?
Oh, dude. So it's bad because I feel like I've been on this, even on the podcast recently, it's been an anti-college And it's not my intention because I absolutely love the university. I think the education system needs to evolve. The problem with the education system, in my opinion, strictly my opinion, is that you guys are here, you go to school, and you learn how to work for somebody else, or you learn how to create your own job. Okay? Now, you really learn how to work for something, because even like learning how to create your own job, those resources, like, it's getting better, but even that's not there as much as the university system teaching you how to work for somebody else. Okay, so there's a really cool book that's called The Cash Flow Quadrant. And so basically the university system teaches you how to be an E for employee or an S for self-employed. But there's this whole other part of the quadrant, which is the most important part of the quadrant, which is on this side you have the B for business, which is business system, and then you have the I for investors, right? And the difference is that the school system teaches you how to work for your money, whereas like when you can create, if we learned how to be a B and how to be an I, a business system or an investor, we're gonna learn how to make our money work for us. Those are two very big things. And I wish I would have learned it way sooner, because I would have, instead of going out and like living the American dream and buying the house that I was living in, I would have bought a house that somebody else was living in. So that way I could get cash flow from the rent. And here I am paying $800 mortgage. Now I got $1,000, one, covering that mortgage, and then putting $200 in my pocket that I can then reinvest into something else. And the school system doesn't teach you that. And I wish it did. So the biggest thing that I got from my education at the University of Florida were the relationships. Example, Professor Rossi, who was the Principles of Entrepreneurship professor for a long time, that guy invited me back to speak in his class, right? Like the first time I spoke in his class, I'm like, you know, like I was terrible. And then he asked me to come back and do it again. And I got a little bit better. And then I got asked to speak in another class, in another class. And like, I'm speaking in 2 classes tomorrow. I'm here tonight. Like, I speak at the university all of the time. And I absolutely love it because I feel like I have the opportunity to invest into the like y'all's lives and give a little something back. But that relationship, that opportunity to speak is what got me to Columbus, Ohio 2 weeks ago, where I was paid to speak on stage in front of a large conference. They paid for my airfare, my hotel, and like without that opportunity to speak and really screw up in front of a bunch of students, and like several years ago, I wouldn't have gotten to where I am as a speaker today. And so that relationship is what did that. So it's absolutely the most valuable thing that came out of my time at the University of Florida. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I bought a scooter from you last year in the fall. It's awesome. But I'm just curious, like, when I came in to buy it from when I like come to repair it, like the culture that you've created at your company is super cool and unique to me. And so I'm just curious how you came up with the idea of like having the chalkboard wall and then having the bean bags, making it such a very eclectic culture.
So, thank you for one. I'll be honest, like sometimes I get nervous. I'm like, oh man, somebody's got a scooter, it's got a problem, they're gonna like hate on me in their class, or like in their you know, like, cause it happened. We sell so many scooters, and like, when you sell 800 scooters in a year, like believe me, like not everything's gonna be perfect. But as I was telling the group outside, the thing that has made the biggest difference for us in comparison to other places is that we care. Like we just care. Like there's a problem, like I want to fix it. And I've made myself super accessible, like personally. Like you can reach out to me on Snapchat, Instagram, you know, all these places. I'll take care of it. So to throw it way back, you guys are gonna think this is crazy, but like for a long period of time, scooters were not cool. Like I would have a student come in with their parent. Here I am. I was the lead salesperson at that time. I'm talking to the parent. They're like, oh, yeah, this is a great idea. you'll be able to get to class and it's gonna save you time. And students were like, yo, mom, I am not gonna be caught dead on that. Right? Like, because scooters were dorky. And so I had to change that perception, okay? And the way I decided to do it, I was like, dude, I'm gonna make scooters cool. And so I started with the dealership. I started with website, like the online perception, website, content, like marketing, like everything. I was like, I'm gonna make it cool. I had like this big graffiti wall. Our first 2 dealerships had huge graffiti walls. Very youthful. I was like, got rid of the couches, put in bean bags. We got like all sorts of stuff because I wanted it to be a place that college students wanted to be. And I realized that we had accomplished that one time when a group of college students came in and they sat on the bean bags. And I'm like, hey guys, like, can I help you? Like, do you need your scooter service? I want to make sure they were being helped. I'm like, do you need your scooter service? And they're like, oh no, we're just here to study. And I'm like, but you don't need your scooter serviced or anything. No, dude, I'm just here to study. Like, I'm on the beanbag. So, and when I realized that students were coming in and hanging out because it was a cool environment and a place that they wanted to be, then I knew that we were on the right track. And when we reached a stage of about 10 team members, like, don't get me wrong, the company's my company. I own 100% of the company, but like, I can't do it without the team. So I really focused on, all right, guys, like, what is it that you guys want? What do we want as a team? What changes do we want to see? And what are the core values that are going to hold us accountable? And so we sat down and developed 11 core values, and then a 12th got added later. The 12th core value is if you're late to work, you better bring breakfast. And so that kind of got added on later. But our number one core value that we said this is going to be number one was to create and recreate the UCE, the ultimate customer experience. So for us, we're like, this is going to be the focus of everything we do. So when a customer buys a scooter, they like fill out a form and like, do you like celebrations? Do you like fun? Sometimes we'll do a big celebration on the mat. I don't know if you did that or not, or you did that. We did like a big celebration. We ring bells. There's sometimes loud music, and it's different. We've had birthdays, or we got silly string everywhere. I mean, we just try to make it as special for that person as possible, because like I feel like we will have failed if you guys aren't bringing your kids to our dealership when they go to the University of Florida. Right? Like I want you guys saying, going to the University of Florida, we're getting your scooter, new scooters for less, because that's where I got my scooter. Like, that'll be like the highlight. And it's crazy to think that it's really not that far away. For you guys, hold on, let me be clear. For you guys it's far away, but I've had the company for 15 years. So those customers that, 2004, 2005, 2000, those customers are going to start coming back now. And it's going to be, not now, but like in a few years. And it's going to be a really cool experience when that happens. But the culture is the lifeblood of the organization. It is the most important thing. It's what keeps people around. It's why when you guys leave the University of Florida, or if you start your own business, or you go work somewhere, like, it's the most important thing. It's the thing that you're going to care about, because you're going to want to love going to work. This life is so, life just goes by so quickly. If you hate Mondays, then you have a problem. And I don't want my team to ever hate Mondays. I want people to come in loving what we're doing and the lives that we're impacting. Guys, this is a ton of fun. Like, I could seriously do this all night long. So what I would encourage you to do is, one, please connect with me. Social media, I'm probably the most active on Instagram. But please go subscribe to my channel and see some of my content there. See the podcast. If you ever want to sit in on a podcast and listen, you're more than welcome to come to the studio. That's a really cool experience. We don't offer that to a lot of people, but you can like come in and sit and listen and experience it yourself. Network with another business owner or whoever we're interviewing that day. And email me. If there's anything that I can do, my email is collin@repaintthewall.com. Reach out anytime. I will be happy to help any of you guys. And if you have any more questions, you can come down here and ask me, and I can spend about 10 more minutes before I have to go. Okay? Thank you, guys.